welcome to the summit, Sean Q. Sean Q helps extraordinary clients create world-class businesses through high-ticket sales. He is an author, a keynote speaker, high-performance coach, and the creator of Clients with Purpose, one of the top sales programs for coaches, consultants, and service providers in the industry, as well as the creator of the One Client Away Challenge, a 5-day challenge to help you land your next or first high-paying client in just 5 days. And I have to endorse, Sean Q is also my personal coach, so I am in the program, and I have been through the 5-day challenge twice, and it's super awesome. So welcome to the summit, Sean Q. Anything else
Thanks
you'd
so
like to
much.
add? Anything else
No,
you'd
I,
like to
I
add
mean,
to that?
thank you so much for having me on the summit. I so appreciate it. Oftentimes what happens is when I get introduced, we get the resume, and I want to make sure that people realize it wasn't always that way. I mean, I grew up in an incredibly poverty-stricken city. My family wasn't very wealthy, and one of the things that really helped solidify like the purpose that I know God has called me to was seeing the world and all of the challenges and all of the problems and being able to recognize that even though I felt at one point like I'm just going to end my life, there's just no purpose to the pain, that I was told you have a mission, you have a purpose, and there's greater things ahead of you. And so it is only by the grace of God, it is only by the purpose that I've uncovered that has helped me achieve everything you just mentioned, and some. And so it's an honor to be here, and I'm so excited to be speaking to everybody who's tuning in today.
Yeah, definitely. Only by the grace of God, being in touch with our purpose and our mission helps us to get past even feelings of not wanting to be here anymore, right? So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that vulnerable side of your personal story to let the audience know that it's not always that way, right? There's always a backstory that we can all appreciate. So as you know, this is the Power of Your Voice Summit. And today is specifically all about mission. So I would love for you to define mission. How would you actually define mission? What does that look
That's
like
a
for you?
great question. So it really comes down to how purpose, vision, mission all kind of play together. And so, as an entrepreneur specifically, and just as a human, as a believer, I fully believe we have been given this divine ability to imagine. To look at an empty field and imagine a parking lot, or imagine a park, or imagine a mall. We can see things that aren't actually there internally, and I believe that's God-given. We can see something and we can speak it into existence. We can work it into existence as well. As entrepreneurs and as humans, as people who want to change the world, our job is to look at the world as it is and see what it could be. And what that's called is having a vision. It's being able to see into the future and say, this can be different, this can be better, this can be improved, this can be easier, this can be quicker. Once you have a vision, that then creates purpose. And it gives you a role to play in making that vision come to pass. And so if it's, to turn the empty lot into a park, maybe your purpose in making that vision come to pass is you are the construction worker, or you're the designer, or you're the strategist on how to get people to the park. Once you have a purpose, then you have a mission. And your mission is broken down in making sure that you're making progress, making sure that you're fulfilling everything that you've been called to. And on top of it, there's a greater cause. There's a greater why behind the vision and the purpose. There's a reality that you're coming up. Maybe there's that empty lot and it's in a poverty-stricken community, and you want to create a park that's safe and free for kids because you know those kids need a place where they can just have fun, where they can play. And that becomes your mission. What is that greater cause for the vision and the purpose?
Yeah, I love that. That is so good because you broke down not just mission, but you also tapped in some of the other days we're talking about on the Power of Your Voice Summit, which is purpose and also vision. And I like how you said we have the divine ability to imagine, right? Being able to visualize and see and imagine is a divine ability that God has given us. So he just broke it down, guys. He not only told us about mission, but he said, hey, I'm not going to just tell you about mission. I'm going to break it down and tell you about purpose and vision and mission and how they all tie in together. So love, love, love that. Thank you so much for sharing it. So since this is the Power of Your Voice Summit, specifically, how does your voice and your mission tie together? So let's talk a little bit about your mission and your voice.
Yeah, such a great question. So I'm a believer, I'm an entrepreneur. And the reason why I started a business was because I looked around the world and I realized one of the biggest reasons people are struggling with mental health crises, with dropout rates in regards to high school, college, even elementary school and middle school, with abuse, with drug addiction and poverty, like all of these things lie on the foundation of poverty. And it's the lack of resources, not just financially, but the lack or the poverty mindset as well. And I discovered if we can attack poverty and we can allow and empower people to live in a life of abundance, then all of these other things become easier. All these other things kind of get relieved. And so I wanted my mission to be to eradicate poverty, to maximize abundance, and to change the world. I fully believe every single person on the planet deserves a life of abundance. It's an abundance of love, an abundance of hope, an abundance of possibilities, and yes, an abundance of finances and resources as well. And so when we can do that, everything changes. What I've discovered though, and on top of all of that, is it's not going to happen on its own. I have to then stand in my own truth, stand in my own strength, and be able to speak a message of hope. Speak a message of love, speak a message of vulnerability, because oftentimes, especially in the business world, it's so easy to hype yourself up. Like, look how awesome I am. And the reality is, when it comes to poverty mindset, poverty of resources, poverty of love, it has nothing to do with hyping yourself up and everything to do with empowering other people to climb the ladder in front of them, maybe even building extra steps so they can make it easier for them. So my job isn't to be in the spotlight. My job is to be a spotlight and shine a light into the darkness and provide hope for people who seem absolutely hopeless, who seem completely in despair. And as we've done that through our challenge, through our programs, as I've done that as preaching at church and speaking at community events, I've noticed as I'm vulnerable, everybody else can be vulnerable too. I believe every human relates the most in our brokenness. When I can say I have scars on my wrist to prove how little value I gave my life. When I can tell you I grew up in an abusive childhood. When I tell you I didn't have any friends in high school and I ate lunch all by myself and I would rush home because I was shamed from not having friends and I was scared of being bullied. That makes me real. That makes me human. And then what happens is other people can see it too. They can say, I'm there. And if you can go from there to there, so can I. And so if me, the person who needs like such clear and simple instructions to do some of the easiest tasks, if I can do it, so can you.
Yes, definitely. And your story makes you so relatable, right? So sharing your story and your mission and using your voice, not just keeping your story to yourself and keeping your mission to yourself, but you use your voice to actually share the mission and share your story. People relate to it and then want to get involved, right? They want to help. They want to be a part of the whole vision. They want to be a part of your mission. So I love how you broke it down in your personal mission and how you've used your voice to share your story and get people involved in your personal mission. So that's great.
Yeah, so good.
So,
Something I oftentimes tell people is you serve no one when you're the best kept secret. When you have this incredible story and you're not sharing it, you're actually giving people a worse outcome than if you were to share it. And oftentimes it holds people back as shame or embarrassment, or even the fear of if I'm vulnerable, I might be hurt. But listen, if you're listening to this, you have a fire, a passion, an energy that has been given to you and a desire to go change the world. That's why you're my people. Like if you're listening and following Nadine, if you're part of this, like you have a change the world mindset. Don't allow anything or anyone or any circumstance or any past or anything that's paralyzed you or stopped you in the past to hold you back from sharing what God has given you, to be able to change the world, to be able to make people's lives easier, and to be able to spread hope and joy and love in such a time as this. And so I want to encourage you, if you know you have a message and you've been holding yourself back, let it out. Get it out. No matter what, get it out. And guess what? Just like Nadine said, people will hear the vision and they'll get inspired by it, and they'll want to link arms with you and say, okay, what's my role in this? What's my purpose in this?
Yeah, I love that. And then you also tapped on another day, which is message. So you're hitting all the points. I could practically have your interview on any one of the days because you're actually covering all the major points. So I love it. So I think when it comes to sharing your story as a part of your mission, as you mentioned, there may be parts of your story that's vulnerable. You don't feel comfortable sharing. But I noticed in the very beginning of the interview, you came right out, even after I read your bio. You were like, yeah, all the stuff in my bio sounds awesome and amazing, but hey, this is my backstory, and my backstory is not pretty. What did you do to reach the point where you felt comfortable being vulnerable and sharing that and not being worried about being judged? Because I feel like a lot of people, including myself, may not want to be vulnerable or share certain things on your platform because of being judged or people thinking differently about you. So maybe you can give the audience some tips on how you were able to overcome the fear of being judged and become comfortable with sharing the vulnerable parts of your story.
Such a great question. And the reason why is because I spent a lot of my life trying to be something I wasn't, trying to be what everyone else thought I needed to be, trying to fulfill and people please and like be perfect for everyone else. And there came a moment where I discovered like, I can only be me, right? Like I can only be who I've been created to be. And it takes so much more energy to try and be what everyone else needs me to be. And so instead of trying to fit in and wear a mask that hid who I really was, I began to build a community where I didn't just fit in, but I belonged. Where no matter what you say, it doesn't matter because you belong here. You're part of this community. And so the first step is if you are in a community where you feel like you have to fit in, where you can't be true to who you are, go find that community. Maybe for you, that's a church or a small group. Maybe for you, that's a community experience. But find people who see you as you are and say, that is what we want, not some fake version of you. The second thing I would say is when it comes to sharing vulnerability, I had a really great speaker coach once say, only share from your scars, not your open wounds. And the reason why is because things that you're currently processing, right? There are things I'm currently processing. I'm not going to share from that place because those places are places of hurt, or those are places of healing that I still need to process. But things that I've already healed from, things that I've processed, things that I've journaled, things that I've gone even to therapy for, I have been able to process it. And now I can share from a place of healing and be able to share the vulnerability without trying to trigger even more hurt or even more pain for myself. And so you don't want to give people space, especially if you're sharing in a public space, right? There's some of you who are watching this, we may never meet, and yet you're hearing my story. I would never want you to give someone that you've never met space to poke at the open wound. So always share from your scars and places of healing. The other thing I would say is shame is such a powerful influencer in so many people's lives. Shame says, there's a difference between shame and guilt. And I learned this from Brene Brown, who's an incredible psychologist and therapist. She says, guilt is where you do something wrong. It goes against your values and you realize, oh man, I really need to fix that. For example, if you steal something, right? Maybe it's a Snicker bar or a pencil and you feel bad about it. You're like, man, I'm not a thief. I got to go fix that. I got to go give it back or pay for it. Shame, on the other hand, doesn't say you've made a mistake. It says you are a mistake. It doesn't say you did something wrong. It says you are wrong. And shame is an identity issue, not a behavior issue. And so oftentimes we take a look at our past behaviors and associate those behaviors with our identity. And maybe even you've allowed society or culture to identify you as well. I know in my past, and so many other people's past. You could be labeled a thief because you stole once. You could be labeled a cheater because you cheated once. But that is not who you are. You are who God has called you to be. You are a free person. You have the ability to be a whole and a king or a queen. That is who you are, not the things you've done in the past. And so instead of thinking or processing, I did something wrong, we process, I am something wrong. And it's time to change that. It's time to shift that. It's time to recognize, even though I had, suicidal thoughts, even though I cut myself, I am not a cutter. That is not who I am. That is something I did. And now, because I've healed from it, I know I am a child of God. I'm a man of honor. I'm a man of integrity. And that's how I can show up in the world and share my story at the same time.
Yeah, awesome. So many good nuggets, so many things I could pull from that, right? You actually created a whole nother day for the summit with calling. So then you put calling out there. So trust me, Sean Q, you're covering every aspect of the summit and more and more. So some of the key things that really stood out for me is, being comfortable with who you are meant to be, right? Being comfortable with that first, and then finding a safe community of where you belong. You're not fitting in, you're truly belonging. And then you can be vulnerable in that space and be comfortable with telling your story, including the parts of your story that makes you vulnerable. And, you may have been scared to initially share in the beginning. So great tips that you shared with everyone. Love, love, love everything that you mentioned and everything that you shared. One last question. What one thing would you suggest someone in order to discover their mission? So if maybe they're kind of clear on their vision, maybe a little bit on their purpose, but the mission side of things is a little bit of a struggle for them. What would be the one piece of advice or tip or tool or anything you would share when it comes specifically to finding out your own personal mission?
Yeah, such a great question. I'm going to give you an exercise. So if you're listening to this, do this process, and I guarantee it's going to just inspire you, pull you out of bed. It's going to make you so energized to go pursue everything that you want to pursue. Here it is. The exercise is called the what else tool. What else? So what I want you to do is I want you to write everything you want in life, everything you feel like you've been called to. Maybe for you, it's like, oh, I want to build this business, or I want to build this ministry, or I want to, start this organization. Write it all down, right? Even if, in regards to every area of your life. What do you want for your family? What do you want for your kids or your spouse? What do you want for your friendships? What do you want for your finances? What do you want for your fitness and your health? What do you want for the influence that you have? Write everything down. Do you know only 2% of Americans actually write their goals down? 2%, that's crazy. And so write it all down. Make the vision plain. Then I want you to take a day, don't do anything, come back to it, read it again, and I want you to ask yourself this question. Let's say you had everything. Close your eyes and imagine. I got everything I said I wanted from my family, from my friends, from my fitness, from my job, from my career. What else do you want? At that point, what's the next thing? What else? So you're going to say, you know what? I forgot to write this, right? You're going to write a couple of things down. Oh, and at that point, I'm going to want a team. I'm going to want a personal assistant. I'm going to have, me days where I just get like a massage on every week. You're going to write all those other things down. Take a day, come back to it, read it out loud, and it's going to start to inspire you. But then at that point, I want you to ask, okay, let's say you have all of that. What else is God calling you to? What else are you called to do? And at that point, it becomes really difficult. You're like, oh, what else do I want? Most of the time, people's vision, purpose, mission is based off of their pain, right? Let me give you a quick example. If I get a paper cut, guess where all of my attention, literally my body goes to? It's like, oh crap, I got this paper cut right here. And it's the tiniest thing, but it feels so painful. Why does that happen? Why does our whole body go towards the pain? Because that's where our attention goes to. And our brain, its main purpose is to protect us from pain. It's to keep us alive. And so our attention goes to pain. Maybe for you, your pain is financial. Maybe for you, your pain is relational. Maybe for you, your pain is you being stagnant or stuck. Once you have that pain resolved, figuring out what's next and what else, that is what becomes your true calling, your true mission, your true vision. And that's where you begin to realize, okay, I'm no longer just focused on resolving pain. I'm now focused on opening possibilities for more people and doing exactly what I've been called to do.
Yeah, great. So two powerful exercises, writing it down, like you said, it's actually biblical and faith-based. Write the vision, make it plain, right? That's actually scripture. So write it down, and there's such a large percentage of people that don't even go through the exercise of writing things down. But then you took it even deeper by saying, don't just write it down, but now let's take it to a next level. What else, right? What else do you desire in life? What else is it? Let that sit for a minute, go back again, take it to another level. What else do I desire in life? That's really how you're getting to the root of your mission. And then the second exercise and piece that you shared was the pain. What was that pain that you've experienced, and how you can actually learn from that pain and turn that into your mission. So two great exercises for us all to take away to really go deeper as it comes to mission and what our mission is in life. Great, great, great information. So Sean Q, if people would like to connect with you, what would be the best way for them to learn more about you? If they want to work with you, what would be the best ways for them to connect with you?
Yeah, you can search me on social media at Hey Sean Q, SHAWN, and then the letter Q, Hey, HAE or HEY, Hey Sean Q. You can also go to our website, clientschallenge.com.
Okay, awesome. So definitely search for him and go to that website. And I don't think you had a download. Did you have a free download for the audience?
We have a ton of free downloads. So if you connect with me, I'll figure out what like the best thing is for you, send it your way. If you're an entrepreneur, we have something called the 7 phrases that make you money. So these are phrases you should start saying more and more as you're in conversation with people. That's a really great one. We have a free sales email course, and it just walks you through the whole process. I mean, we have a ton of free stuff. So just hit me up on social at Hey Sean Q, and I'll direct you to the right one.
Awesome, awesome. We'll probably put the 7 phrases as a link so you can get to that one, and definitely hit him up for other ones that they can customize specifically for you. Thank you so much for being on The Power of Your Voice, Sean Q.
Thanks so much. I so appreciate it.